Yeah, at last, at last, at last.
Good morning. Were you waiting for me? Hello. Good morning.
Am I audible? Reverend Secretary's
Yes, sir. Yes,
mic
sir.
is muted.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Sanjeev,
Hello, sir.
your
Good
mic
morning.
is not
Good morning,
audible.
sir.
Sanjeev, let me tell you, yeah, just a minute. No problem, I'm sitting. Yeah. Can you speak now to check the mic? Sanjeev?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us now?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely humanity will provide. You see,
Oh,
after
my.
all these struggles, humanity will provide. Definitely.
Shall we start now?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
Respected
Last.
dignitaries,
At last.
Father, dear staff members and students, kindly apologize for the time delay. An association is a place where brilliant minds come together to create beautiful events. Today is the genesis of a diary that's going to run throughout this academic year 2021 to 2022. Morning to each and everyone present here. If there's one thing in this world that could ease the soul, it is prayer. Miss Mispa of 2nd MA English will now lead us in prayer with this song. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom and thou my true art. I ever with thee and thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father and I thy true Son. Thou in me dwelling and I with thee one. Riches I heed not, nor vain empty praise. Thou mine inheritance now and always. Thou and thou only first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure thou art. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for protecting us in this pandemic times. Thank you for guiding us through our duties. Lord, today we bring to you our department's inaugural function. Help us to actively participate in the department activities and shine like stars in future. be the guiding light to us. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Misbah. The highlight of our Indian culture is welcome. The speciality of our college is welcoming with a hearty blessing. I invite Mr. Minton of 2nd MA English to welcome the audience.
There is nothing so reassuring as a genuine welcome. A pleasant morning to one and all gathered here. I'm really happy to welcome you all for the inaugural function of the Literary Association of the Department of English, St. Joseph's College, Trichy. First and foremost, I would like to welcome our dear fathers, Reverend Father Secretary and Reverend Father Principal for this inaugural function. I welcome you, dear fathers.
Thank you.
I would like to extend my warm welcome to Dr. B.L. Jayapal, Head of the Department of English, St. Joseph's College, who is a man of dedication and patience, and we feel really blessed under his guidance. I welcome you, dear sir. Then I would like to extend my welcome to our beloved chief guest, Mr. N. Ilango, Associate Professor and Honorary Head, Department of English, Manna Thirumalai Nayakar College, Madurai, who is present here to enlighten our students with this wonderful speech. I welcome you, dear sir. I would like to welcome our dear professors, Dr. S. Sajib, President of Literary Association, and Professor Abraham, Vice President, and all other staffs, and my dear friends for this inaugural function who are here, gathered here to grace this occasion. Once again, I take this opportunity to welcome you all present.
Thank you, Mr. Minton. Only strong personalities can create history. Personality has the power to uplift and the power to bless. I request Honorable Secretary, Reverend Dr. Peter S.J., St. Joseph's College, Trichy, who creates history with every initiation he takes, to felicitate us.
Professor Ilango, have you been in the campus? I want to make sure whether you are an alumnus of St. Joseph's. You have some connections with St. Joseph's College?
I am not an alumnus of this college, sir, but I have come to the campus twice for your drama club.
I see. Because your face is
also,
familiar, that's why
and
I want to make sure.
During my studies, MPhil in Trichy Bharatidasan University, I have entered your campus to act as cashiers in Julius Caesar.
My goodness. Good. Wonderful. Respected Father Principal, the Vice Principals, the Dean of the Languages, Dr. V. Francis, esteemed Professor Dr. V. L. Jayapal, and Professor Sajeev, the President of the English Association, sorry, and Professor Abraham, the Deputy, esteemed professors of the Department of English, and my dear students, it gives me great joy to join you all for the inauguration of the English Department Association activities for the year 2021 and 22. See how we function. Even though there were pandemic situations, Even though there were so many setbacks, you are able to begin the association activities in time. That is why the theme I have chosen is about setbacks and pandemic situations. When we were all young at Loyola College studying commerce, we were staging a little drama and presented it for the first time through TV at Chennai. The name of this program in Tamil was Muttukkal. That means as people were going in the streets, walking, there was a little boulder and people did not bother about this. They were passing by, walking and going through the same way, but they did not bother to remove that stone or a setback. And there was a fight also. As we were trying to move that stone, one group came and blocked. Why you are removing this? And you don't belong to this caste and all these things. So I still remember, my mind is very, very vivid and alive as I think of this situation that we are facing at this time, the setbacks and pandemic situations within court. Setbacks are inevitable in life. A setback can act as a driving force and teach us to be humble. In grief, we will find courage and faith to overcome the setbacks. We need to learn to become victors, not victims. Fear and doubt at times becomes short circuits of mind. After every setback, we need to ask these questions. What did I learn from this setback? What did I learn from this experience? Only then will we be able to convert the stumbling blocks into a stepping stone. As you begin this academic year, as you begin with the various activities in the Department of English, I have this prayer for you. As students of English literature, I do not know whether you have heard an English author by name Francis Thompson. This Francis Thompson has written very many poems. A poem like how we need to be grateful to God. And he has also written a poem by name Horn of Heaven. God is after his creatures. The Creator is after the creatures. As if this horn is chasing after the food, for example, the animals, small animals. But here, today, I have chosen this small little poem in order to convey how we need to be grateful to God or appreciate God's benevolence, God's blessings. In a nutshell, this author is saying, Lord, I am grateful for everything. You have given me the nature. You have given me people. And today I pray for a grateful heart till the end. So as we face these setbacks and pandemic situation, we need to be grateful to God because so many of our students are not in a position to go to the college or learn something. Whereas God has given us this chance to be with our staff members, with our faculties, in order to learn our subjects. So we need to thank God and pray to God, Lord, give us a grateful heart. Along with this grateful heart, I have another poem because I want to give the message in the form of a poem. And the poem goes like this. If you think you are beaten at this moment when we face this kind of a setbacks or pandemic situations, the author, I don't know who is the author, can we say is an anon? If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but think you can't, it is almost a cinch you want. If you think you will lose, you are lost. For out in the world, we find success begins with a fellow's will. It is all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You have got to think high to rise. You have got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. The last para is a very meaningful for us. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the person who wins is the person who thinks he can. As we face these setbacks or pandemic situations in the form of corona or COVID, the mind or the attitude that we should have is we will overcome. We can overcome, provided we have the mind and heart to overcome the situations that we face. I wish you all the best. I wish the Department of English, which is known for various activities to take up during this academic year, wish them that they go ahead, even if you face the setbacks and pandemic situations. All the best. I pray for God's benevolence. I pray for God's blessings on each and every one of you, the staff as well as the students, so that you be courageous and go ahead with the various activities that you are expected to take. God bless you all. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Father Secretary. The time itself is waiting to hear the pearls of wisdom. His motivation has always been a real boost for all of us. Now, I invite our respected head of the department, Dr. V.L. Jaipal, St. Joseph's College, Trichy, to address the audience.
Respected Reverend Father Secretary, Father Principal, esteemed Dean of our school, dear colleagues, students, and the chief guest of the day, Professor Ilango, good afternoon to you all. This is the happiest day for all of us because we start our English Association activities for this academic year. In a special way, I would like to congratulate and wish Dr. Sajeev, the president of the association, and Professor Abraham, vice president of the association. And I also feel really happy to see the student participants in conducting this program. I wish you all, the students, to have fruitful academic year ahead. Next, when I saw the title of today's chief guest address, I thought I should share an anecdote. Former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Winston Churchill, once said, I quote, "I took a taxi one day to the BBC offices for an interview. When I arrived, I asked the driver to wait for me for 40 minutes until I'll get back. But the driver apologized and said, I can't because I have to go home to listen to Winston Churchill's speech. I was amazed and delighted with the man's desire to listen to my speech. So I took out 20 pounds and gave it to the taxi driver instead of 5 pounds without telling him who I was. When the driver collected the money, he said, I will wait for hours until you come back, sir, and let Churchill go to hell. Friends, you can see how principles have been modified in favor of money. Nations were sold for money. Families split for money. Friends separated for money. People killed for money. And people being made slaves for money. Dear friends, we have to refresh ourselves to be humane. I am sure with the blessings and support of our administrators, with the guidance of our professors in our department, and with the encouragement of today's chief guest, Professor Ilango, I wish the association to have a productive academic year 2021-22. I wish you all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. An event becomes meaningful in the presence of a guest. Mr. Calvin Kingston of 2nd MA English will now introduce the chief guest for gracing the occasion with his presence.
Respected Reverend Father, the faculty members of the department, and my dear student friends, a very good morning to all. I'm happy to introduce the chief guest of today's inaugural function of our literary association. We are very grateful to him that for taking time in his busy schedule and joining us as we all lined up virtually. Our chief guest hardly needs an introduction because he is a renowned professor from the renowned institution. Professor N. Ilango hails from Madurai, son of his soil, a man with commitment and hard work marched towards his great heights. He completed his post-graduation from the American College Madurai and worked as a professor in the American College Madurai. He specialized in various fields such as drama, poetry, language, and literature. To my surprise, I came to know that he inaugurated a drama club in our college, and he also inaugurated a film club in 2019 in his college. He also screened the Hollywood movie Oliver Twist, which is an Academy Award movie of the adaptation of Charles Dickens with the same title. His effort and contribution towards theatre plays and film studies enlightened many minds. He also directed more than 14 plays under the banner of Fourth Wall Theatre. He also authored a book titled How to Read a Film and did many poem translations. We also shared our joy and informally communicated to our student friends that Professor N. Ilango will be the chief guest for the inaugural function. Many students gave positive feedbacks about the professor. I'm quoting exactly the words of the students. He's a multifaceted intellectual with lots of knowledge in drama. He's a humble, simple, and a respectful personality. His class will be always dramatic and his perspective will be always unique. There's a quote saying that to be inspired is greater, but to inspire is an honor. We are very honored and privileged to have such an eminent personality with more than 30 years of teaching experience. I guarantee that his presence virtually will enlighten our minds. Once again, I welcome you, sir, for the inaugural function.
Thank you, Mr. Coven. Great minds inspire people to become better. One such great mind is our chief guest, Mr. N. Ilango, Associate Professor and Head.
There is a jerk in your voice. MC? Excuse me, why am I not hearing? And her visual is just still frozen. Yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yes. The great minds inspire people to become better. One such great mind is our chief guest, Mr. N. Ilango, Associate Professor and Head, Manna Thirumalai Nayakar College, Madurai. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can one of you tell me at what time should I close my speech and let you for interaction? Can somebody tell me what time I should close my speech and let you interact?
So the time is all yours till 12:50.
No, not that. I don't believe in that stuff. See, tell me when I should stop, what time I should stop, and call for interaction, call for questions. Come on, be open.
Yes, sir. We'll begin the question session at 12:50, sir.
12:50. We will have the question session at 12:50.
12:50.
Okay,
yes,
that's fine. That's fine. You see, this is how humanity prevails. Yeah, we should know how to be adaptable. You see, how to be adaptable. I have a book here. You see, if you don't believe me, you can trust this book. This book is written by one of the most famous neurologists in the world. Now, this book is also a very popular, acclaimed BBC television series. The title of the book is The Brain, The Story of You. The Story of You. The Brain, The Story of You by David Eagleman. And this book, he's a neurologist, a very famous neurologist. And this book tells how humanity can survive, human being can survive under any weather, you see, because he argues human brain is different from the brains of all other species. I request our HOD sir and the rest of you to have this book in your library. You see, it is very much available in Amazon. And our human brain is live wired. It is not hardwired. So we can survive under any climate, under any situation. If you take a fish and put it on the land, it will die. If you push a deer into the water, it dies. If you take the polar bear and leaves it in a desert, it dies. Whereas human being can survive anywhere because our brain is live wired. If anybody tells you that our brain stops growing at a particular point of age, do not believe it. You see, till we die, our brain, the neurons, you see, the brain and the cells keep on circuiting and recircuiting, adapting ourselves to our environment. So we should adapt ourselves. That's why I asked the MC, what time should I? No, that doesn't make any difference. A haiku is a three-lined poem. You see, 5 syllable, 7 syllable, 5 syllable. If you read Bashir's first haiku, you see, I read one last evening. You see, the haiku reads as and now the swinging bridge, quieted by these reports, like our tendril lives. Think of this. back at home, think about the depth of this three-lined poem, single sentence poem, which begins with now and ends with like our tendrilled lives. You see, tendrilled lives, not even branches, tendrilled lives. You see, we can cling to anything like Amanda in the glass menagerie and survive. It is not just surviving cheap, you see, it is the passion of the absurd. By the way, when I saw your agenda, you see, I was taken aback. You see, my God, what names! As a Shakespeare lover, I used to say, what is in a name? But, you see, my God, what names you got. You see, what's it? Mitzvah, the watchtower, the biblical watchtower that protects the emotional bond, mitzvah, you see, and Aldo the wise, and Kevin the handsome, you see. What am I going to suppose? What am I supposed to say in the presence of people with such names? Revered secretary, respected principal, president of the English Association, head of the department, staff and students, thank you for this refreshing opportunity to connect with you all. When initially my friend, Professor Primrose, and subsequently Dr. Jayapal and Professor Sajeev contacted me, I chose the topic Humanity Will Prevail, inspired by William Faulkner's Nobel Prize acceptance speech, in which he says, man will prevail not because he has a voice, but he is capable of compassion. You see, if Emerson's The American Scholar can be called the intellectual declaration of the independence of America, Emerson also talks about that. He says, child is Greek, youth romantic, adult reflective. In a single life, human beings have all the great epochs: grammar, adventurous, and reflecting and adapting. All these three things are available in a single human being's life. As Shakespeare would say, there is a history in every man's life. Knowing the present as the product of the past, one can prophesy the future to its near exactitude. We learn. So, if Ralph Waldo Emerson's American Scholar can be considered as the intellectual declaration of the independence of America, if Robert Frost, The Gift Outright, the poem The Gift Outright, which he read for the swearing-in ceremony of the second tenure of John F. Kennedy, you see, can be called as the poetic, aesthetic declaration of the independence of America, then certainly Faulkner's Nobel Prize acceptance speech should be considered as a positive statement made on the indomitable spirit of human beings. See, Manudam Vellum. Unlike the Renaissance humanism, which was anthropocentric, gravely, grossly misinterpreted as anthropocentric, that man in the center can enjoy everything which is around. Faulkner's reassurance is founded on universal humanism. You see, sprouting out of an epiphanic moment such as our mustached poet. You see, Bharati would say, remember that? காக்கை குருவியங்கள் ஜாதி நீள் கடலும் மலையுமெங்கள் கூட்டம் நோக்கும் திசையெல்லாம் யாமன்றி வேறில்லை நோக்க நோக்க களியாட்டம். You see, களியாட்டம், the dance of joy, the dance of jubilance, because at a point of life you hear everything is you. Everything is you are. It is not egocentrism. It is not anthropocentrism. It is ecofeminism. You see, தாயுமானவன். You see, or if you read Ayyan Thiruvalluvan, he would say, பகுத்துண்டு பல்லுயிர் ஓம்புதல் நூலோர் தொகுத்தவற்றுக்கெல்லாம் தலை. You see, பகுத்துண்டு பல்லுயிர் ஓம்புதல். Sharing for the sustenance of all beings is the highest form of virtue, our elders have said. பகுத்துண்டு பல்லுயிர் ஓம்புதல் நூலோர் தொகுத்தவற்றுக்கெல்லாம் தலை. You see, that is the very primitive consciousness of the biodiversity of this cosmic universe. You see, my dear friends, standing at the threshold of a new era, remember, we are all standing at the threshold of a new era. As the gyro poet W.H. Yeats describes in his Leda and the Swan, the end of an epoch is the beginning of another. The fall of Troy is the beginning of the Roman Empire. If I sound dithyrambic, if my words sound the ecstatic cry of an elderly person, no, I am very practical, authentic. You see, read one of these days Rutger Bregman's Humankind, a hopeful study. Humankind, a hopeful study. You see, he is an anthropologist, a contemporary historian, whose books sell in millions. You see, then you will realize the real Lord of the Flies, the real Titanic, the real Twin Tower demolition were all stories different from what we read in novels or watched on small screen and big screens. Humanity never behaved like a coward. Humanity bore itself so nobly at all these junctures. I walked during the first wave 20 kilometers around Madurai. Perhaps I was all alone, with a slight exception of the policeman and a mad person, mad like me. I wanted to see what Madurai city was, how humanity bore itself nobly well, right nobly well, like the Duchess of Malfi, you see, like some English mastiffs, which grow fierce by tying, you see. They grow fierce by tying. They are strengthened by the tests and tribulations. Duchess of Malfi, despite all these things, she never loses her emotional integrity or moral fortitude. She bears herself even as the antagonist has to accept it, as she bears herself right nobly well. You see, that is the truth. The real Lord of the Flies, the news where 6 boys were caught in an island, they actually rescued the sheriff, unlike in the case of William Golding's Lord of the Flies. In the real Titanic, browse, you can get it from the Google. You see, it is all scattered all over this virtual platform, virtual world. You have all the information documented there. Read what happened during Titanic. People behaved so orderly. You see, they behaved so orderly. 1,500 died out of 2,000 and odd passengers. But they behaved themselves like ladies first. And during the Twin Tower demolition, the survivors have documented it that they heard unbelievably, incredibly, the utterance, "You first, no, you first." They climbed down the stairs so orderly fashioned. This is what the real humanity is. When pandemic COVID-19 struck, you see, I am not just quoting examples from the past. In fact, my students last year did an institutionally sponsored project titled New Humanism, COVID-19, Mass, Media and Literature. They came back. They even interviewed the colored TV correspondent, how the mass behaved. What generally is talked about the mass, or what we very derogatively call as mob psychology or mass psychology, is a veneer theory which is wrong. Veneer. Veneer theory is wrong, in which Hitler believed. with which he thought he could terrorize the mass and win over the states. But after the sporadic bombing in London, people came out and looked at the sky. They reopened the shop. The pubs were reopened with a couple of jokes on bombing. You see, that came to be known as the British upper lip. Very proud. British upper lip. You see, became very famous. They were not. யாமார்க்கும் குடியல்லோம் நமனை அஞ்சோம் நரகத்தில் இடர்படோம் நடலையல்லோம் ஏமாப்போம் பிணியறிவோம் பணிவோமல்லோம் இன்பமே என்னாலும் துன்பமில்லை. You see, sings a Tamil Saivite poet. You see. So, this new humanism, it has taught us a great lesson. You see, we could not just say anymore, we cannot just say anymore that God is in heaven and all is well with the world and sit back and relax. We cannot do that. We all know, in fact, the places of worship closed their doors, or rather were closed by a system. I don't blame the temples. I don't blame the church. You see, like Emerson saying, I like the church, I like the cow, I like the prophet of the soul. You see, உள்ளம் பெருங்கோயில் ஊனுடம்பு ஆலயம் தெள்ள தெளிந்தார்க்கு சிவன் சிவலிங்கம். You see, so whether the places of worship closed themselves or they were closed by human beings, anyway, the doors were shut. The doors remained shut. For some, it was like the Hebrew couplet quoted by James Baldwin. God gave Noah the rainbow sign. You see, these are extremely religious people. I am not talking about spiritualism. I am talking about religion. The extremely religious people are relentless. They always have some answer for that. You see. By the way, what is linear theory? Linear theory believes that humanity survives in a delicate thread which can easily be broken. Right? Apna odiruvan. If you raise the baton, they will run away. They thought. If you drop a few bombs, they will run away. They thought. No, it never happened. You see, காக்கை குருவியங்கள் ஜாதி நீள் கடலும் மலையுமெங்கள் கூட்டம். You see, காலா சற்றே அருகினில் வாடா உன்னை காலால் உதைக்கிறேன் என்றான் நம் கவிஞன். You see, he did so. We have never given up. We have never given up. But this COVID-19 has taught us a few lessons. We cannot just sit back and quote from scriptures saying God is in heaven and all is well with the world. And for some religious bigots, you see, it was like the Hebrew couplet quoted in James Baldwin's The Fire Next Time. What is the couplet? The couplet says, God gave Noah the rainbow sign, no more water, the fire next time. But for the common man, you see, like Ma Joe in Grapes of Wrath, like Amanda in Glass Menagerie, or like the mother in Brecht's Mother Courage and Her Children, or Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman, or Linda in the same play. You see, we have seen scores of characters from literature celebrating humanity and its indomitable spirit. For the common man, you see, he still remained so dignified. The media alone threatened us. Our eyes were glued to the media and the TV was always shouting. You see, we were almost like reading the scores. And what happened is somewhere, some epoch back, all these things were spread on the social media platforms as is happening in our neighborhood. Media alone tried to threaten people. Later, when Color TV correspondent was questioned by my student Harijaran about this media exaggeration, exactly as Noam Chomsky talks about in his famous book, The Spectacular Achievements of Mass Media, a post-9/11 edition, or Michael Moore in his full-length documentary Fahrenheit 9/11 proves it is a media fabricated fear psychosis created, thinking that humanity dangles in a fine thread. Anytime it will fall down, the veneer concept, you see. But for the common man, only the elite ran away, or shut their doors, or only the rich ones were afraid that since poor would go without jobs, they would barge into their houses and steal their property. But for the common man, he bore himself right nobly well. You see, toiled so dignified, whatever she could. Now at the entrance of my colony, Vishal Nagar, there is a beautiful young couple. You see, a young man and his young wife. Both are so beautiful with a beautiful daughter. They are selling clothes. You see, spread on the road. Spread on the road. She is immaculately dressed and he is immaculately dressed. One day I stopped my vehicle and without them noticing me, I just offered my worship to the lady while she was sitting at the roadside, teaching her child, this beautifully gowned daughter, you see, homework. She did not notice me. Sitting under the tamarind tree, she still believed that humanity will provide. You see, whatever she could have, like the Frostian center cedar pole, you find in the silken tent, to keep her rugged family tent upright in the righteous way, pinnacled towards heaven. Remember that. You see, Anbum Aranum Udaittayin Ilvalkai Panbum Payanum Madu. You should not read Tirukural just in the order as you see it on the printed page. You have to, reading Tirukural is a good training for improving reading skills. You see, different Kurals ought to be read in different ways, not just interpretation. For example, this Kural, Anbum, Aranum, Udaittayin, Ilvalkai, Panbum, Payanum, Adu, ought to be read as a proleptical answer, answering the expected question. What is the quintessence of family life? The quintessence of family life is love. What William Faulkner calls compassion. What Albert Camus calls the passion of the absurd. You see, that is the quintessence of family life, wedded life. Anbum aranum udaittayin ilvalkai panbum payanum adu. The panbu, ilvalvin panbu, anbu. Ilvalvin payan, aran. What is the outcome of it? Then only Dharma will be sustained and established in this world. No Krishna Paramatma alone will come down and say, Paritranaya sadhunam, vinasaya dasukudam, dharma samsthavanarthaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. We all are Krishnas. We all are Christ. You see, we have Mother Mary inside us, immaculately. You see, we have it. I could see that in that woman who is selling even now the clothes outside. Like the Frostian scented cedar pole, she toils to keep her rugged family tent upright in the righteous way, pinnacled towards heaven. All of us understood during the pandemic period, as wisdom should begin from home, reformation should start from the self. Am I not right? And would become a social phenomenon from the self, like Stephen Covey's 8th habit. You see, from the individual, it should be contagious positively to the entire society. The individual, you should begin with the individual. You see, like Bharatiya singing, Akkini Kunjundru Kandeen, Adai Angoru Kattidai Pundilil Veithen, Vendu Tanindadu Kaadu, Thalal Veerathirkku Kunjendru Muchumundru Mundu, Thakkira, she would say. You see, coming from the girl, the small school girls who give the money for charity from their piggy bank, you see, or whatever you have, You take it out and give it to somebody. College girls and students like you standing under the bridges of Kalavasal in Madurai, where there is a huge Germanas hotel is constructed. These girls with a small basket containing few food packs, distributing food packs, you see, under a hot sun. What are they going to get? You see, this is what? From the personal to universe, from the self to society. What did we understand because of this pandemic period? We understood personal hygiene and health is the beginning point. The primitive wisdom returned to us smilingly, asking us not to panic. You see, the primitive wisdom, not to panic. You see, we understood that emotional integrity in the common man's self is a synonym for spiritual fortitude and faith. I witnessed with my own eyes many such heroic acts unassumingly performed by common man, that I time and again vouchify the expression humanity will prevail. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you see, this is what life is. There is a beautiful scene with which John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath ends. Many of you may have heard of that novel. It is called an American epic because it is based on a historical factor. Not just historical fact, it is an American phenomenon. There is a district in America which is called Oklahoma. You may have seen that locate in one of the later recent films, the sci-fi films. You see, Primrose is very fond of that film. The film is Interstellar. Interstellar. You see, it begins in a village. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar begins in a village, in a farming village. Like that, Oklahoma City is notorious for dust storm. You see, all year people would have toiled on their lands. And what would happen? In one season, there would be a storm, annual heat. The storm is dust storm. What you find, a storm in Saudi in Mission Impossible. You see, the dust storm. When the storm comes, you just have to close your windows and doors and sit inside praying. And after the howling sound, like the howling of the wolf is music to thee. Screech, howl, pretty peace. Like the polishing, grinding sound during the French Revolution depicted in Charles Dickens's The Tale of Two Cities. Or what our brethren in Sri Lanka say, shell sound. Or what became a tragic concept of Mithridatic effect, along with the Freudian psychology, which talked about vicarious satisfaction, wish fulfillment. Carl G. Jung talked about Mithridatic effect, reality preparation, which he came across due to a disease called shell shock, psychological problem called shell shock. The entire area would be stifled with, dense with the howling sound of the wind, and the wind throwing the dust on the doors and walls of every household. After the sound subsides, people would with much difficulty, they would open their door and windows or go through the roof to clear the doorsteps so that they can open the windows. And what they would seek, what Pattukkottai Kalyana Sundaram would sing as, Kaadu Vilanjana Machan Namakku Kayyingalum Thana Micham. Nothing remains, everything is covered by the dust storm, like the locust storm. You see, the dust storm, everything is covered by the dust storm. And not being able to live in that village anymore, Pattina Pravesam. The families, the village goes towards New York and other cities, Chicago and other cities. Chicago is a big bad city, you see. What happens there? Many die, many become communists. You see, there is a character called Ma Jo. Remember that character, Ma Jo. At one point, she will tell the truck driver who has given her a lift, the rich come and go, we keep coming. You see, the rich come and go, we keep coming. We don't die, we don't die. You see, we don't give up. You see, we keep on going. The perseverance, the passion of the absurd, the ability to decide during the past whether to roll the rock to the top of the mountain or to give up. For Sisyphus, everything, he was happy. Like that, Ma Jo, like an exodus, they are moving from place to place like nomadic tribes. While crossing a forest, the son is dead, the child, son's child, grandchild is dead, but the young mother is alive. The daughter-in-law is alive. Young daughter-in-law, not having a baby to breastfeed. She is there. They are moving. காகித ஓடம் கடலை மேலே ஆசையே அலைப்போலே நாமெல்லாம் அதன் மேலே. You see, they go. You see, at a point, one man, an elderly person, falls down and he was dying. Then everybody goes near him. They all know why he is dying. You see, they know. At the gates of American College, once an old man fell down. My friend and I rushed. My friend Rajendra Pandian lifted that old man up and asked him, Ayya, enna seyyudu? The old man said, Pasikkudu. தனி ஒரு மனிதனுக்கு உணவில்லை எனில் இந்த ஜகத்தினை அழித்திடுவோம். Is there anything wrong in that saying? You see, like that, this old man is dying. Ma Jo takes him on his lap and she looks into his eyes, then looks up at her daughter-in-law, who is a young wife, who doesn't have a baby to feed. But she has food. The mother's food she has. She looks at her, looks at the young woman. Then she looks at the people around. As if these people have understood what Ma Jo has running in her mind, they all leave. Then Ma Jo nods at the beckons, nods at the young mother. The young mother kneels down by the side of Ma Jo. Now this old man is transferred to the young wife's, young mother's lap. The young mother takes him like she would do a child and she starts feeding him. The novel ends. Humanity prevails. This is what human beings are made of. Never ever give up. I can talk about so many things. Scientific factors I can give. Psychological factors I can give. I am telling the young ones here who are listening to me now, I tell you, most of our fears do not happen really. Most of our pains, there are some pains which are inherent in us. Other than that, most of our pains are self-inflicted, like anger, jealousy, doubt, so on and so forth. Losing the self-confidence. At one point, now why should I say one point? Albert Camus opens his collection of essays, The Myth of Sisyphus, with a striking statement. He says, the most important thing which must be philosophically analyzed is suicide. Anomie, ANOMIE, social psychologists later found out as principlelessness. You see, nothing, there's no principle. Now, Albert Camus says there are some people who say yes to life, there are some people who say no to life. The funniest part is people who say yes to life commit suicide. People who say no to life continue living. What does he mean by that? Do not attach unnecessary things to reality. Never ever take things as they are and get rid of yourself such things like disappointments, expectations, jealousy, anger, doubt, you see, inferiority complex, and all these things. These things are going to, as Shakespeare would say, feed on their mother. They are going to feed on their mother. You see? So, don't feed them. Feed human love. Feed your indomitable spirit with a little pleasures. You see? As George Eliot would say in the famous novel, quoted in the famous novel, Silas Marner, from the poem Michael, Wordsworth's poem Michael. The line is, the best portion of a little man, the best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. That's all. Life is like a chain of beads. Make your chain, you see, knitting the so many beautiful moments you relish. Don't feed yourself to anger, jealousy, suspicion, doubt, expectation, inferiority complex, and all these negative things. Remember, humanity will prevail, not because it has a voice, it has a language, but because it is capable of compassion. See, that is my, if you take it as a message, that is my message now. Now I invite you for a discussion if you have any. If I know the answer to the questions you ask, you will be benefited. If I don't know the answer, I'll be benefited. I will go and refer more. Thank you so much. Thanks for this great opportunity. Am I audible to you all? Have I been audible to you all? Can somebody respond? No, you unmute your mic. You unmute your mic.
Yes, sir, it was very clear.
Yeah. Were you able to hear me from the beginning?
Yes, it was good.
Because sometimes in the virtual platform, the wire may have come off. I may have been shouting for hours together. Anyway.
Throughout the
Yes.
program, it was very clear, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. No, your voice is not. MC, your voice is not heard. Your voice is not audible. Check your mic. Thank you, Francis, sir, for your response.
Thank you, sir.
No, you are not audible. You are not audible. Is she audible to others?
Professor Sajeev, unmute your mic.
Sajeev? MC, unmute your mic. It is hunger. Sajeev's tail is immobile. can some technical assistant help
Yeah,
the
I am
MC?
calling him, sir. I'm calling the process, Sajid.
Or if others would like to talk, you can speak. You can ask me. You can interact, respond. The problem with a YouTube link is that they cannot respond. They cannot interact. In the YouTube, they cannot interact. Only in the Google Meet, they can interact. Anyway, if they type the question, then the MC can get it and pass it over to us.
You can use this one.
Yes, Mr. A. Abraham.
We are extremely sorry for the network issues.
No problem.
Yes,
This is
now
what
it's
we
clear.
call
Go
digital
ahead. Go ahead.
divide. Digital divide the other way around. Actually, I am
We
a
have a few.
digital.
The first question from Mr. Minton Aldo: is religion a tool for humanity?
Isn't religion a tool for humanity? Am I right? Am I right? Is that what the question
So the
is?
first question:
Yes.
is
what
religion
it?
a tool for humanity?
Yeah. You asked me a very important question. You see, religion is a system. Religion is a system. You can use anything as a tool for humanity. Your education, love, your even your lineage, your society. You can use anything. Do not confuse
Yes, sir.
between religion and spiritualism. You see, all spiritualists need not be religious. All those who are religious need not be spiritual. You see, this is my humble observation from the contemporary scenario. If you ask T.S. Eliot, his wasteland talks about this. You see, we take shelter inside the temple, but the the Madonna rock with which the first church was built, the rock has only the shade, not the water. You see, what is the water here? The faith. You see, those who go to temple are all not good ones. Those who do not go to temple are not all bad ones. So being religious is not a parameter for being virtuous. One of the most virtuous persons whom I know, one of the most powerful humanists whom I know was certainly Ivera Periyar. Periyar was even an atheist, but he was a great humanist, you see. Great humanist, you see. So, what do we mean by religion religion can be used as a tool, for, but what when the same religion turns against humanity, as civil blood makes civil hands unclean, Saivites killing the Vaishnavites, Christians killing the Jews, Sunni Muslims killing the Sufi Muslims, you see, or Hindus killing Muslims and Muslims killing Hindus, vice versa, you see. So religion, what about Ku Klux Klan or vast West Anglo-Saxon Protestants? You see, what about that? You see, religion can also be violent. Religious fanaticism. What about the witch hunt in America in the Salem villages, on which Arthur Miller has written an excellent play titled Crucible? You see, so many things. Human history is infested and prevalent with atrocities committed in the name of God, in the name of religion. So, religion can be used as a tool for humanity. Basically, all of us must be humane. Humanism is the primary need for all of us, whether we are religious or not, whether we go to temple or not, whether we are educated or not, whether we are rich or poor or whatsoever. Humanism is most important. Religion can be used as a tool. For example, in Alagargoyil, in Meenakshi temple, in those days, they would collect, it was called pidiarisi. They would collect a measure of rice from the devotees and keep it. Paddy, rice from the devotees and keep it. When there was a flood or a famine, they would distribute it among the needy. Even today, that practice is done religiously. You see, in church, we have the teeth pig. In Islam, we have the kurbani. You see, so religion can be used as a tool. But we must be humanist, basically. Thanks for the question, Aldo the Wise. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The answer was very good, sir. So we have another question from Miss Mispa. In this world of artificial intelligence and technology, how can humanity prevail?
It started, you see, Karl Marx said, only the invention of electricity and through capitalism we can attain socialism, you see. But what happened? Because electricity brought in industrial revolution and capitalism made anyone who had money to invest and flourish. So from there, we could have gone to socialist ideologies. But as you find in one of MGR's films, எடுத்தவர்கள் மறைத்து கொண்டார், கொடுத்தவர்கள் தெருவில் நின்றார். You see, that happened. So, artificial intelligence, all technologies, or all scientific improvements have two sides. It depends upon the psychology of the user. Who is going to use it? You see, the atomic energy can be used to enhance power. The same nuclear science can be used to destroy an entire world. Like that, artificial intelligence can be used as we are doing now. The other day, I talked to even Homi K. Baba. You see, how was it possible? You see, that is only because of this technology. Even though we were in quarantine, we were able to communicate with each other because of technology. So, artificial intelligence is also yet another tool. What shouldn't happen? You should not be dehumanized by that, as sometimes it happens with the mobile phone. WhatsApp, Facebook are very important. But what happens? People, friends sitting side by side, each engrossed in his or her mobile phone, refusing to communicate with one another or each other. What is the big point of having this communicative gadget? You see, so it should not have a retrogressive effect. That is very important. Artificial intelligence is used in medical science, in surgery. You can get the guidance of a great doctor anywhere on this part of or anywhere on the earth, sitting here in Madurai. So artificial intelligence, if it is used as a positive tool, it is good for humanity. It depends upon whom does the knowledge, the technology reach. That is very important. Yes? No, again you are muted. Again you are muted. MC, you are muted. Come on, man. No, you are muted. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. In fact, I am the digital migrant and you are all digital natives. But this elderly person is able to creep and crawl into this digital technology.
Sir, is it audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Everyone except the MC. Everyone except MC is audible. You are audible, sir. Abraham, sir, you are audible. Francis, sir, was audible.
It is audible, sir.
And
So we have another question.
yeah.
What constitutes a good humanity? And how can we know
What?
the truth? And how
Come
can we
again?
preserve democracy through humanity?
Come again.
What constitutes a good humanity? How can we know the truth? And how can we preserve democracy through humanity?
An excellent question. An excellent question. What do you call humanity? What constitutes humanity? What are the constituent parts of humanity? What can nurture and inculcate good things in humanity? In what way democracy can contribute to humanity? These are all very important things we have to apply our mind to. Let me recall an incident from history. Mahatma Gandhi was observing fast and to death. You see, in Quit India movement, he was there in Porbandar. You see, and everywhere, all over India, meetings are held simultaneously. You have to know one thing, that only 72 ashramites were trained under Mahatma Gandhi. But thousands and thousands of people participated in the Salt March. Even the British government was not able to file a single case of retaliation. Not even a single case of violence. Even the British police was able to charge. So disciplined our people were. Not because of lacking physical power. They were Pathans, 6.5 feet. They could take our police by the collar and throw them off. And there were Sikhs, the giant Sikhs. But none of them retaliated. You see, this is an important thing. Now back to your question. Mahatma Gandhi was under fast and to death. You see, somewhere in Porbandar, you see. And here everywhere meetings were held. One of the meetings, the guest speaker was the chief. Note was given by Ivera Periyar. He was in Congress then. He believed in God then. He had donated. He was even the a trustee of many temples before he became an atheist, you see. And G.V. Ramasamy Nayakar, he was then, you see. And he was asked to speak. And he got onto the platform, typical of Periyar. Periyar, Ambedkar, all these people like Socrates, Jesus Christ, Mahatma Gandhi. You see, these people were original thinkers, not the scholars. You see, Periyar got onto the stage and asked, மகாத்மா காந்தி அவர்கள் போர்பந்தரில் சாகும் வரை உண்ணாவிரதத்தில் இருக்கிறார். மகானின் உண்ணாவிரதம் வெற்றியடைய எல்லாம் வல்ல இறைவனை பிரார்த்திக்கிறேன். நான் கேட்க விளைவது என்னவென்றால், what I would like to ask is, if the son of the soil rules the land, can you call it independence? Can you call it freedom? ஒரு தேசத்தை அந்த தேசத்தின் குடிமகன் ஆண்டால் அந்த தேசம் சுதந்திரம் அடைந்ததாக நாம் கொள்ள முடியுமா? If so, why is there a revolution in Russia? Russia is, of course, ruled by Tsar, the son of the soil. Why people are rebelling against another son of soil who is ruling? So, define what freedom is. He said, what is freedom? Such an important question is asked by one of you. What is democracy? Democracy is not a machinery. Democracy is not a system. Democracy is not a book of rules. Democracy is a process. Democracy is a progressive idea. Demo means people. Ruling, you see, people governing. And beautifully Noam Chomsky points out a factor about spectator democracy. What is happening in India, sorry for sounding political, is spectator democracy. If you just tap your percussion against taskmark, you are booked under Desatrogam. You see, being insidious or anti-social elements. So many journalists, so many political leaders are arrested. So many people who just question are hunted down by the government, by the present central government. So what they expect is spectator democracy. Democracy is people participating in the governments. You having right to ask questions, to find and suggest solutions, convince people about your ideologies. That is what democracy is. So, democracy is not a product. Democracy is a process. We do something, we establish some government, we choose some government. If the government does something wrong, we point that out. As the Chief Justice of Supreme Court said, Chandrasud said, by pointing out the flaws of the government, we are not anti-government. Then the government reforms itself, then the government rectify its error. That is what democracy is. Democracy is not a product. If democracy is followed in the truest sense, that is humanism. Even the last person have the voice. Gayatri Spivak asked this question, can the subaltern speak? Which means, are they heard? ஏழை சொல் அம்பலம் ஏறுமா? That is the question. ஏழை சொல் அம்பலம் ஏறுமா? So, if democracy is followed in the practiced in the truest sense, then certainly democracy is here for stay to do good for humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have only a couple of questions more. The next question from Mr. Jeevan. What is life according to you? Is it to enjoy or to sacrifice?
Life is living. There are two concepts. One is fruits of a tree, and the other is cup of life. The fruits of tree. A tree is judged by its fruits. The cup of life. A cup is given to you, drink it. You see, there is nothing called perfect life. There is nothing called perfection. You see, பூமியில் இருப்பதும் வானத்தில் பறப்பதும் அவரவர் எண்ணங்களே. You see, in happiness, there is a famous book Dalai Lama wrote, collaborating with an American psychologist, titled Happiness. It has been translated into almost all major languages of the world. It is even available in Tamil in Kannadasan Padipagam Magilchi. There he says, happiness is inherent. Happiness is within. தீதும் நன்றும் பிறதர வாரா நோதலும் தனிதலும் அவற்றோர் என்ன சாதலும் புதுவதன்றே வாழ்தல் இனிது எந்தலும் இளமே பிரிவின் முனிவின் இன்னாமை என்றதும் இளமே. You see, நீர்வழிப்படும் புனை போல ஆறுயிர் தன்வழி தலைப்படும். You see, what does it mean? Life is here to live. What is sacrifice? You need not sacrifice your identity. You need not sacrifice your passion. You need not sacrifice your truth for anything. Happiness is in sharing. You see, you need not sacrifice. You see, there's nothing really called a sacrifice. The sacrifice of Sidney Carton is actually sharing his joy and immortalizing his love by sustaining the life of his beloved one and the ones who are dear and near to her. So, the joy of giving is different. The joy of giving is different. If it is asked by a woman, I should say, don't let men cheat you by calling you angel of the house. If you are the angel of the house, you have to illuminate the household with the light of your wisdom, knowledge, and your principles, and the way in which you bear yourself. So, for me, life is beautiful. I have, like any other human being, undergone the best and worst of emotions, the ebb and flow of life, the rise and fall, all my life, you see. But for me, all is well, life is good. Life is good. Because I know life is here. Life is here. So you can make your life happy by realizing what you want, what are your merits, and how to use your merits to get what you want. If you do not get something, if you are convinced that you cannot get that, it is better to abandon it rather than clinging to it and wasting the rest of your life. You see, these are some general statements I make. You can apply it if you are convinced to your life, like following your principles, abandoning your project at the right moment is also important to lead a healthy life. You see, so you should know how to use your strength to live happily and make others happy. There is give and take. There is a joy in sharing. There may be pain in being cheated, but there is joy in sharing. So, if somebody cheats you, if somebody disowns you, it is a loss to them if you know what your strengths are. So, when you have to abandon something, abandon it. I am not talking about abandoning your responsibility when you are strong. No. When you are convinced that something is not for you, go for something else. Have all your doors open. Then your life will be beautiful. There is nothing permanent in our life. You see, மாற்றம் ஒன்றே மாறாதது. Remember that. Happiness is yours. You are not killing somebody, cheating somebody for your pleasure. Then you cannot be happy. Sustainable happiness. Read Tirukural. Don't think I am just catechizing you. No. Read Tirukural. Very, very, very practical. Very practical. So for me, life is beautiful because I decide my life.
Thank you, sir. The last question is from Professor Primrose. The society labels a selfless and compassionate person as a fool, on one hand. On the other hand, people take advantage of this person. With all these criticism and challenges, can a human person still survive and inspire?
You see, the second part first. You see, people take advantage of your compassion. Why should we call it advantage, taking advantage? Because we expect something from them in return. If you want to do good, do it. Don't expect anything in return. If you expect anything in return, that is not actually doing good. That is actually bargain. You see, and we are not talking about bargain here. We are talking about unconditional love. Unconditional love. We are talking about unconditional joy in giving. Only when you expect something, when it is not given to you, then you are disappointed. This disappointment kills your joy. I am quoting Dalai Lama from the book Magilchi, Happiness. So, if you want to do something good, doing good is the reward of it. Doing good is the reward of it. So, don't think that people are taking advantage of you. But there is also something else called misplaced sympathy. You see, if they try to cheat you, then you have to put them in their place by remaining unassailable. That's all. You need not get angry with them. You need not grow sad. If you grow angry and sad, you see, then it hurts you. You know how many chemicals seep when you get angry, when you become sad. Very detrimental, very negative energy. So you need not do that. You see, then the joy of giving, that's all. You see, when you give the needy, you see, and that's why I said the best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. You see, Vari Valangum Vallal Pasukal. Why do they call the cow as the best charity? Vari Valangum Vallal Pasukal. Why do they call Pasu as the Vallal? You see, because the cow doesn't bother. You see, that someone else is drinking its milk. You see, it may not even know who is going to drink its milk. It's like a common fountain. You see, it's like a common fountain. It is for you. You are being love. You love. It is for yourself. You love. You see, it is for your joy. You give. It is for your pleasure. You make others happy. Remember that. If we expect anything in return, that is a business trade. That's not really love and compassion, I should say. Maybe. I'm not a saint. I'm not a saint.
Thank you, sir, for answering all the questions patiently and for clearing all our doubts. Thank you very much, sir. Gratitude adds color to the colorless. It adds beauty to anything that's plain. Now, we have Mr. Harish, the Secretary of the English Association, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First, let me start by giving the glory to the God Almighty for making this occasion a memorable one. First, I would like to thank our college management, Reverend Father Rector, Reverend Father Principal, for their continuous support and encouragement in all the academic activities
and a special thanks to Reverend Father Secretary for his words of felicitation. I am grateful to thank the Honorable Chief Guest for Mr. N. Ilango, Associate Professor, Honorary Head Department of English, Manar Thirumal Nayakar College, Madurai, for, for, uh, for his valuable time and, and his words of insight. I would like to thank Dr. Sajeev, the President of the English Association, and Professor Abraham, Vice President of the English Association, for their constant stewardship, support, and commitment. I would like to thank our respected HOD, Dr. B.L. Jayapal, for his encouragement and support. I would like to thank all the professors of our department for their encouragement and constant support in all our activities. I am grateful to thank our supporting staff, Mr. Velangani, for his technical support. I thank all the students who have participated in this occasion and making this a great one. Once again, I thank each and every one of you. Thank you. Have a great day.
A gratitude speech may end an event, but this is the beginning of great endeavors yet to come. Until we meet in the next event, it's Danis signing off. Thank you.
I wish all the success in all your endeavors. I wish a very fruitful academic year for the English Literary Association of St. Joseph's College. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Shall I leave now?
Ask him to be here.
So
Shall I
thank you,
leave
sir.
now?
Thank you, sir.
Shall I leave now?
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Sir, just a minute, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm Sajid, sir. How are you, sir?
Hi, Rajiv. Hi, Sajid.
Right, sir. Sorry
Thanks
for
for the
the
opportunity.
technical
Thanks
issues,
for the
sir.
opportunity.
We'll be rectifying all those things and we'll come back, sir.
Are you satisfied?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied?
Yeah, we are so much
These
satisfied.
things happen in technology. These things happen in technology.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
I understand.
take it to your heart. Take it to
Yes.
your head. Don't
Yes,
take it
sir.
to your heart.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
Thanks
Sir.
for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Sir, HOD
you.
wants to talk to you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Hi, sir.
வாங்க 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 வாங்க
நாளைக்கு பார்ப்பேன் நான்.